All right, when you're ready.
Okay. How are nationalism and sports connected? Since the ancient Greeks started the Olympics in 776 BC, sports have been an integral part of our society all over the world, and since then they've taken on an incredible amount of meaning. Sports provide a sanctioned place for nationalism and pride, and they measure the success of countries based on their sports teams. The passion and emotion that they bring is indicative of the national identity of a country, and they're not only a competition of athletic skill, but also of superiority of a country and representation of a country. As sports have become increasingly important, they're now the epicenter of entertainment, especially in the US. Since they elicit such strong emotions, their success has become synonymous with the value of our nation. When one feels when one feels that a larger nation or a larger unit such as their nation will be disgraced, it arouses combative instincts in them, which are especially fostered in aggressive sports. George Orwell has said that there cannot be much doubt that the whole thing is bound up with the rise of nationalism. That is, with the lunatic modern habit of identifying oneself with larger power units and seeing everything in terms of competitive prestige. A significant historical example of this is Miracle on Ice in 1980, when the 7th-ranked amateur American team beat the 1st-ranked Soviet team in hockey. In the context of the Cold War, this was seen as a victory of democracy over communism, and it was a big restoration of national pride for Americans. Not only is value wrapped up in sports, but also the identity of a country, with a lot of symbols of pride and government influence evident in sports. The International Review of Sociology and Sport has said that the government has been using professional sports to pursue national rivalries in a peaceful way for years and years. Oh, I didn't change the slide. Eric Hobsbawm has said that the imagined community of millions seems more real as a team of 11 named people, and I feel like this sums up how sports represent national identity really well. The actions, the clothes, the music, the flags of fans all contribute to a sense of national collectivism. And sports arenas are a very strong environment between fans and sports teams of a nation, with groups representing their country in such a major way. Sports are definitely a huge part of a country's image. A large part of a country's national identity lies in the political views of its citizens. Many people like to deny this, but certainly politics are intertwined with sports. For sports, you need a set of rules or expectations to ensure the fairness of the game. But fairness, that term is skewed by the different political predilections of different countries. Writer for the New York Times, Claudia Rankine, said that she went to the US Open as a reporter, and she was sitting next to a man who was cheering for Azarenka instead of Serena Williams. And she said, "Are you American?" And he said, "Yes." And she said, "So why are you cheering for Azarenka?" And he said that he wanted to encourage competitiveness. Serena Williams has also been the subject of hundreds of bad line calls and other misconduct. And the attitude of this fan and of many other fans really shows the political attitude of citizens. And in these situations, Serena Williams is expected to be polite and respectful and quiet about that, and that represents how Americans feel that people of color should react to this criticism that they face every day, both in sports and in normal life. Another example of this is Jackie Robinson, of course, in 1947, when he joined the MLB and was met with such antagonism. That is very representative of the idea that the country held in terms of racial equality at that time. The feelings that athletics put on display of the American people definitely make it so that sports are linked with politics. Sport embodies what it means to be a national citizen, including the value, the identity, and the politics of a nation. The flags that are raised, the patriotism that is expressed, all can be done without fear of scrutinization under sports, and the success of sports teams is recognized globally. Controversy can be worked out without the casualties of warfare. And I think that Serena Williams and George Orwell would both agree that sports are not just a pastime, but an important vehicle of national identity across the world.
Huge round of applause. You can see thousands of people. Hey, how did your research question, Abby, how did it evolve as you moved through the research process?
So it evolved more to include that last part about politics. At first, I was just focusing mostly on the George Orwell article, which was about the nationalism, but then with the Serena Williams article, that prompted me to do more research about current cultural nuances and racism, especially in sports. So that made me decide to put in a big paragraph in my paper and a part of my presentation about politics.
Okay, thank you. What are the implications of your findings to your community?
Well, of course, this brings to light how passionate Americans are about sports and in their opinions in general, especially as I just mentioned with fans of Serena Williams and not so fans of Serena Williams. We can see that we have work to do, as always, with racism and other cultural problems. Excuse me. And so I think that highlighting this and just highlighting how much Americans are influenced by sports is just relevant, I guess.
Okay, all right, thank you. Another round of applause, huge round of applause. All right.